Welcome to FineScale Modeler Weekly. We start this episode with a big box of plastic.
Yep, this is Takom's 1/16 scale M50A1 Ontos with interior.
This self-propelled weapon system carried 6 106mm recoilless rifles and was designed as a tank killer.
Used extensively by the Marines in Vietnam, this vehicle excelled as a bunker buster and anti-personnel vehicle.
This is the first time the Ontos has been available in 1/16 scale, and Takom has pulled out all the stops.
The lower hull builds from the belly and sides with running gear mounts. The upper hull is mostly a single part with glacis and rear plate for the hatch and a separate engine cover up front.
The running gear has the M50's unique trailing suspension arms that sandwich pairs of road wheels with separate outer tire halves and are locked in place by an outer rail. The tracks are molded in soft, flexible vinyl.
Interior detail includes firewalls, sponsons that double as fenders, seats for the driver and gunner, controls and radios and racks for the rounds.
The 6 M40 rifles are molded in long halves that get added details like multi-part breeches and brackets, and the 50 cal spotting rifles. The guns mount on the turret with a separate hatch and internal details. A figure is supplied if you pose the hatch open.
Clear plastic provides his goggles as well as lights, periscopes, and vision blocks, and there is photo-etched metal for the perforated casings, round ends, engine grills, and more. Decals provide instrument gauges, warning placards, and markings for 5 M50A1s. A Marine 3rd Anti-Tank Battalion vehicle in Hue during the Tet Offensive, another 3rd ATB Ontos used in Operation Deckhouse 6 in February 1967, a third ATB vehicle in Chu Lai in January 1966, a Marine 1st ATB Ontos in 1968, and finally, Roadrunner, a preserved M50 at the U.S. Army Armor and Cavalry Collection in 2022.
There is plenty of detail here, and it should build into an impressive model of a unique weapon.
Speaking of Takom, the company has gotten a fair amount of mileage out of its Panzer III family.
Yeah, we looked at the Panzer.Kpfw.III Ausf.N in a one-shot in 2020. You can see that video and the subsequent workbench review at the links in the description.
Now we have the Panzer III Ausf.N with Winterketten in 1/35th scale.
This kit shares most of its parts with the Ausf.N, so let's focus on the new, including the short barrel 7.5 centimeter gun with breech and other interior details, the mantlet for the front of the turret, and the commander's cupola with optional open or closed vision blocks. There are also changes to the rear plate for the later exhaust, new engine covers, and side vents.
The final addition is the link in length Winterketten tracks with extended links to support the tank on snow or soft ground. Decals provide national markings for 4 vehicles. 2 overall gray tanks from the 503rd Schwere Panzer Abteilung with Army Group Dawn in December 1942, and 2 in winter whitewash from the 502nd on the Leningrad Front in December 1942.
Takom Panzer IIIs have a reputation for going together easily and building into good replicas.
So we expect this one to follow suit.
Pickup fans will be happy with the next kit, a 99 Chevy Silverado and 1/25th scale from Revell.
This replicates the initial year of the redesigned truck, but as a street pickup.
It looks like the last time this kit was issued was in 2011.
The one-piece extended cab features sharp badging and trim and some of the underhood details. The bed is also mostly a single part, with the hood and tailgate separate.
Under the hood is a nicely detailed Vortec V8 with the block and transmission, heads, belts, air cleaner, manifolds, and covers. A separate radiator and firewall boxing the engine bay. The frame, molded with the cab underside, gets a lowered front and rear suspension, exhaust, and drive shaft. Optional factory wheels with standard tires or custom big and little rims and low-profile tires are provided.
The platform interior is detailed with bucket front seats, a rear bench, center console, dashboard, controls, separate side panels, and the overhead console with visors. Chrome-plated parts supply the front grille and bumper. To properly build the custom version, you'll want to strip the chrome and paint it to match the body color. There are several custom parts included, most of which go unused here. Most of the clear parts, including the windshield, windows, and lights, drop in from outside, making painting easy. Nicely printed decals offer badging, engine placards, dash displays, and body stripes in 2 colors.
This is a well-detailed kit of a popular truck, and I expect it to find a home on many shelves.
ICM has been making figure kits in 1/12 scale for several years.
The latest is timely and obviously close to the company's heart, a soldier of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
The well-sculpted head is topped by a helmet. The torso has body armor and the fatigue-clad legs have knee pads molded in place. Ammunition pouches, equipment, and radios can be hung from the armor.
For armament, the kit supplies AK-74s with and without grenade launchers, a light rocket launcher, knives, grenades, and more. Painting instructions show the pixelated camo pattern on the uniform.
This is a timely release and a good scale. Nice work, ICM.
Before we go, we wanted to show you a couple of new books from Osprey.
Starting with Elizabeth's Navy, 70 Years of the Post-War Royal Navy.
Working chronologically by decades, Paul Brown discusses the challenges and deployments Britain's Navy undertook. But the main feature of the 344-page hardcover is hundreds of photos of the many ships and subs operated by the Royal Navy since World War II. The other book, also a hardcover, is Panzer Reconnaissance by Thomas Anderson.
The 288-page volume traces the development of recon vehicles between the wars until the invasion of Poland. After that, Anderson looks at the deployment of forces across multiple theaters during the war.
Both books offer insight into modeling subjects and offer some great ideas for displays.
Look for reviews of the Chevy Silverado and Ukrainian figure on FineScale.com.
Where you can also find a lot of other great things, including the April DLC. Don't forget to check it out. We'll put a link in the description.
And go to KalmbachHobbyStore.com to pick up great tools like these Green Stuff World sanding pads. FineScale Modeler Weekly is brought to you by Hobby Zone USA, your source for hobby storage solutions, hard-to-find hobby tools, and aftermarket modeling needs.
One of the tools that I think we overlook a lot are the lowly scissors. Scissors? The lowly scissors? What was scissor? You know what I'm talking about. They're overshadowed by knives. We talk about knives all the time. Knife handles, knife blades, different kind of knife blades. They're overlooked. We're overshadowed by snips, nippers, right? But scissors, just like all the tools that we have at our workbench, scissors are there to make our lives easier, right? So what do we do with scissors? I mean, when you think about it, there are some pretty specific tasks that we use scissors for. For instance, we can slice paper with scissors. We cut thin plastic sheet with scissors. We cut thread for antenna or rigging with scissors. We cut decals with scissors, right? So what kind of scissors should you have at the workbench? For me, scissors that you would have at, just kind of tossed into your kitchen drawer, these big suckers, they're okay for cutting paper, for cutting thin sheets of plastic, because they've got a long blade and you can do a pretty straight line, right, and not get a lot of jaggies. But for the finer work that we do, for instance, for cutting decals, there's nothing that beats a nice, compact, sharp set of scissors, like these three here. This one, these Fiskars are my go-to for cutting decals. Very sharp point, sharp edges, and extremely maneuverable. And I like, for me, I really like where this hinge is at, right? Where this fulcrum is at. That's just very comfortable with me. I have two other similar sets of scissors. These are both from Green Stuff World. These, again, highly maneuverable, nice sharp edges, very sharp point, straight. I don't prefer these as much as I do these because of where that fulcrum is. It's very far back for me. But that's just a personal preference. For someone else, they may really like how these feel in their hand. I also have a set of curved scissors down here at the end, again from Green Stuff World. Similar design to its brother over here, right? But what it does is it has this curved end, which allows me to get into places that I might not otherwise be able to get into with this set or this set of scissors. All three of them I find useful, and I keep them close at hand when I'm at the workbench. Now, like I said, I use these primarily for decals, and I want to tell you why. Some people prefer to cut their decals out with the handy dandy number 11 blade in a hobby knife handle, right? I don't like to do that, and there are a couple of reasons why. First, when applying the pressure to the decal sheet, I can start cutting, but should something happen, should my hand shake, should I slip, there is a chance for me to accidentally pull the blade across a decal. And that's no good, because now I've sliced that decal up, and who knows if I'm going to be able to repair that damage. The other thing is that when using a knife blade like this, you go ahead and you make that cut, and what it's doing is it's separating, it's plowing through the paper. And as you can see here, that's going to give you an upraised fringe on the edge that you just cut, and that can interfere with you sliding the decal off of the paper. The other thing that you'll find when cutting paper with a number 11 blade like this is that it will dull the blade extremely fast. The last thing you want to be doing is cutting more decals with a dull blade because, well, with the dull blade, you're going to have less control, and that furrow that we talked about is probably going to get worse. So then you're going to be changing the blade out and then continuing to cut, and then changing that blade out and then continuing to cut. And it's just it's a Mobius circle of problems. With the scissors, you eliminate a couple of those problems. First of all, you don't get the furrow that you get with the knife, right? Because we're shearing that paper between two blades rather than using, just downward pressure and then plowing through. We're actually separating it. So you get a nice clean cut with those sharp scissors. And that means that you can get good and close to the decal, and you don't have a fringe that could interfere with sliding the decal off of the paper. The other thing that you get that you don't have with the knife, or at least not as much, is control, right? There's going to be much less of a chance of me cutting across another decal unless I'm being careless. There's much less of a chance of me cutting across another decal. That allows me greater control to get in here and separate this decal from the sheet. Lastly, a word of advice. If you dedicate a set of scissors or a couple sets of scissors to cutting decals, make sure that is the only job you use them for. You do not want to go ahead and use that set of decal scissors to cut, I don't know, plastic sheet, because you're dulling those scissors, right? You want those scissors to remain as sharp as possible. So remember, the tools that we have at our workbench are there to make life easy for us. So sometimes it's okay for us to spend a little bit on a specialty tool. And there are some specialty scissors out there that I like, right? And they're called by various names: squizzers, squeezers, spring-loaded scissors. Whatever you call them, this is a variety of them. Now, these guys, these squeezers are the oldest set that I have, and they're dull now. But I've replaced them with a Fiskars set. Again, very nice point, very sharp edge. And really what they're used for is to get into tight places, and I primarily use them for cutting string, so rigging. They're always open, which is nice, right? They've got a nice feel in the hand. You just go up and then there's that. No muss, no fuss. A similar sort of idea are these Fiskars scissors, which they're spring-loaded. They have a locking mechanism on them, and then they open up, and just like with these squeezers, you can go in and cut with them. I don't like the motion as much on this one, but again, that's a preference, not you know, a bug or a glitch. It's whatever you prefer. Maybe that something like this feels better in your hand because you've got more of a handle to hang on to, and then it's just thumb operated. I prefer this. But again, what we're talking about here is just having something at the workbench that you can get to easily to accomplish your task, and then set back aside and get you back to modeling as quickly as possible.
So, you and I headed north
To Canada.
to Canada, to
Hamilton.
Hamilton, Ontario, to the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum,
Yes. For HeritageCon 2023.
which is one of Canada's biggest
I think it is the biggest model show.
in Canada. Terrific models. We shot a bunch of photos and some videos. So
Let's roll the tape. Well, we hope you enjoyed that short video of what you were able to see at HeritageCon in Canada.
If you liked those models, you can check out more at the gallery of photos that we shot there in the link in the description.
Right down there.
Right down there.
Otherwise, I think, for us,
Yep.
That's it, right?
That's it. Yep. We'll see you next week.
See you later.
I was going to say 1666.
Wow. Now, and you can bleep.
It's so good so far.
Pickup fans will be happy.
We're not going to start it like this. I'm not going to start it with a now. We're not going to start it with a so. Scissors? Scissor? Scissors. Scissors? I'll say it's scissors. I didn't need your input. Gosh. We will do this again. Give him a clean take. Nope.
Cut.
Sorry about that. I had a brain fart. Let's do a clean take.
I'm looking down at that damn screen all the time.
Here, man, it's up here.
I know.
We're gonna do that whole freaking thing again, right? Because, ugh.